సో నేను రికార్డ్ చేయలేదు. ఇప్పుడు again we are discussing life cycle of doctor. So since now we are in build section, right? So this ensures consistency across different deployment environments and makes it easy to share and deploy applications. Next step is nothing but, so Docker images are easily distributable artifacts that can be shipped across different environments, such as development, testing, staging, release, and production. So once Docker images are, they can be shipped to Docker registry, such as Docker Hub or private registries. So where they can be versioned, stored, shared among team members. This allow for seamless collaboration and deployment across different teams and environments. So run is nothing but Docker enables applications to run in lightweight, isolated containers that share the same underlying host operating system kernel. So means this same operating system kernel only container, that is same. So containers provide a consistent runtime environment for applications regardless of underlying infrastructure. So developer Docker Compose or container registration platforms like Kubernetes to manage, scale their container applications in production environments or different environments. So this ensures the application run consistently across different environments, can easily scale to meet changing demand. This, this is about Docker lifecycle, build, ship to run. So next, what are the topic we will cover in Docker? So Docker is a creating images and containers. So here fundamental concepts. So first you need to follow some specific use cases, how to create images, commands you need to learn. So after that, how to create containers and how to create multi-container architecture by using Docker Swarm. So, and how to create images by using Docker file, and how to backup containers, volumes backup, under networking, storage, and security. And finally, we can integrate with CI/CD, how we can integrate application deployment, continuous integration, continuous deployment, and how to troubleshoot is if you face any issues on performance of for application performance optimization. So mostly what are the questions we will face in Docker? So interviewer asking what is Docker and how does it differ from traditional virtualization? Means already we are virtualization types and what virtualization benefits and disadvantages. We can differ all the things in this when you ask this kind of question. So explain key components of Docker, such as Docker images, containers, Docker engine, Docker file, Docker hub. So you need to explain each and every component and briefly. How does Docker achieve lightweight virtualization compared to hypervisor-based virtualization? Already we discussed each and every things. So next, Docker file and image creation. So in this section, what are the questions we are facing in the interview? What is Docker file? So definitely you need to open context document, and you need to follow all instructions for specific use case. So that is about Docker file creation. So next, explain the purpose of each instruction commonly used in Docker files, such as from, run, copy, cmd, entry point. So same question, uh, ask they're asking different ways also. So what is the difference between copy and add? What is the difference between cmd and entry point? So what is about run instruction? So how we are passing environment variables? So for that, which which instruction we are going to use? So this kind of questions we will face in this section in the Docker file. So next question, how do you optimize Docker images for size? And so this is a best practice. When you're creating images, this is very important. That's why definitely this is a gunshot question. Discuss best practices building Docker images, including layer caching and image triggering, image tagging, and image versioning. We can discuss all about this practice use cases. So next, container orchestration. So what are the types of questions we will face in this section? Container orchestration. What is container orchestration? Why it is important in a containerized environment? So we will discuss when when you working on Docker Swarm. When you will working on Docker, we will discuss all about this container orchestration. What are the benefits of container orchestration? What are the components of each component? What is the use case? We will discuss. So you need to explain like that only. So next question, compare and contrast Docker Swarm and Kubernetes such as orchestration tools. So you need to just explain disadvantages and advantages of Kubernetes tools. So a lot of features are there. After completion of these cases, you can able to work. You can able to answer this question. Next, describe the architecture of Kubernetes cluster. The role of components like Kube API server, Kube controller manager, Kube schedule. Next, explain how Kubernetes manages container scheduling, networking, storage, and scaling. So while discussing Docker, we can cover Docker orchestration tool, Docker Swarm. So how we are managing Docker Swarm manages container scheduling and networking, storage, scaling with help of Docker Swarm. So we'll discuss. Next, networking and security. How does Docker network? What type of networking modes are available? Visual, no. types of networks are there, sir? Networks are there. We can discuss about this Docker network. So next, discuss common Docker networking and how to address them. So we'll work on best practice use cases. Then you will understand this how to communicate each container, one container to another container, and one container uses multiple networks, specific networks. So we will work on those best use cases. Describe Docker security features and best practice for storing containerizer application. We will discuss concept of Docker trust, content test, how it helps ensure the integrity of pages, integration of CI/CD. How can Docker can be integrated into container integration and continuous deployment CI/CD pipe. Discussed strategies for automating Docker image builds, deployment using tools GitLab, CI/CD, GitHub Action. Currently, we are working on Jenkins. Next question. Explain the concept in CI/CD. Canary text of. So next, troubleshooting and performance questions. How do you troubleshoot common issues with Docker containers such as connectivity problems and resource constraints and container crashes? Next question, discuss techniques for monitoring Docker container performance and diagnosing performance bottlenecks. Okay, last question, explain how you would scale Docker containers horizontally and vertically to handle increased workload demands. So Docker Stack, by using Docker Stack, we can scale up and down. So we can discuss that. So all these kind of actions work on. సో మనం ఏడబ్ల్యూఎస్ అకౌంట్ క్రియేట్ చేసుకుని మనం ఇప్పుడు ఏడబ్ల్యూఎస్ విత్ డెవాప్స్ కాబట్టి ఇది కోర్సు మనం కంపల్సరీ ఏడబ్ల్యూఎస్ సర్వీసెస్ మీద డిపెండ్ అయ్యి వర్క్ చేస్తాం. సో ఇప్పుడు వేరే క్లౌడ్ అయితే అజూర్ సర్వీసెస్ డెవాప్స్ టూల్స్ యూస్ చేసి వర్క్ చేస్తాం. జీసీపీ అయితే జీసీపీ సర్వీసెస్ యూస్ చేసి గూగుల్ క్లౌడ్ సర్వీసెస్, సో డెవాప్స్ టూల్స్ మీద వర్క్ చేస్తాం. ఇవి యాజ్ పర్ ద డెవాప్స్ ఇంజనీర్ రోల్స్ అండ్ రెస్పాన్సిబిలిటీస్. So after creating AWS account, just log in. So not that account. I have multiple accounts, company account also there. I'm going to log in company account. After login, here search for EC2 instance on the search bar. So here already available. So I'm clicking on EC2 instance icon. So you need to choose specific region. So each region we have specific lot of components. So all components not available in all regions. So you need to follow as per the AWS documentation for creating resources and understand the each service use case. That is that is most important. Next, go to instances is easy to console. This one is easy to console. You need to understand so all features like instance type, launch template, and spot instances, reserved instances, and dedicated hosts, and capacity reservation, AMIs, and volume snapshots, and security groups, elastic IP, placement groups, and key pairs, network interfaces, and load balancers, target groups, finally auto scaling groups. These all are easy to service features. Next, click on launch instance. Here, take Docker host. So tag name is a instance tag name, Docker host I mentioned. So next, take Ubuntu. Ubuntu is the practice purpose only. We are using most of the application deployments, 90% of the applications deployment all in Red Hat. So this is the licensed and enterprise community supports providing Red Hat Linux. Ubuntu, there is no community support. It is open source Linux operating system. So AMI, Amazon, this is AMI. So you need to choose specific AMI. If you want to upgrade, you can choose a different one. So here two MIs are retire eligible. So you can choose any one. So current version I'm using 22.04. By default, it is taking. Next, this type of architecture type 64-bit. This is the AMI ID. Each region have specific AMI ID. So just compare with other regions, then you could understand. This is the instance type, means hardware type. What, how many CPUs you want, how much GB you want to choose, you can choose in this section. Instance type. Key pair. Want to access this instance, one private key for this instance. So already I have created